increase announced by the government, expressing disappointment that some guards are still earning less than 10,000 Kenya shillings per month. The president also announced that the government will amend laws and regulations that use the term watchman, saying it is a colonial term that does not show respect for the profession. Instead, these workers will officially be recognized as private security officers. In addition, the president said the government will amend private security sector laws to establish a career progression system that will enable officers to receive promotions based on their performance at work.
Tulikubaliana ya kwamba kazi ni kazi. Ama tulikubaliana vipi? Si tulisema kazi ni kazi? Hii yenu ni kazi. Na sababu hiyo, ile maneno ya watchman ilikuwa ni madharau ya mkoloni. Vile tulimsafirisha mkoloni, nyinyi sasa sio ma watchmen. Nyinyi ni private security officers. Na kwa hivyo sheria ya Private Security Regulatory Authority itabadilishwa. Sheria na order ya General Wages Order na Private Security Wages Order na Private Security Regulations Act zitabadilishwa, majina yenu iwe ni majina yenye iko na heshima ya private security officers. Jambo la pili, hii tumesema ni kazi kama kazi ingine yoyote, na tumekubaliana ya kwamba lazima tuwe na career progression. Mtu akiingia kazini lazima ajue akifanya kazi vizuri atasonga mahali gani, na akifanya kazi vizuri zaidi atapanda namna gani. Kwa hivyo regulations ya private security itabadilishwa ili kuwe na career progression path ya private security officers.
Now, the Council of Governors has conducted a review of 13 years since the establishment of the devolution system, highlighting the achievement made, the challenges facing counties, and the measures needed to improve service delivery to citizens. In his statement, the chairperson of the Council of Governors, who is also the governor of Wajir, that is Ahmed Abdullahi, said county governments have made progress in implementing devolved functions despite challenges related to resource allocation and funding. The council said 91% of counties have established disaster management departments, while 94% have fire units that continue to provide services. In addition, 89% of counties have allocated at least 2% of their annual budgets to emergency funds, a move aimed at strengthening disaster response capacity and protecting the lives and property of citizens.
Kenyans. In the health services sector, in the financial year 2025-2026, the total county allocation to health increased by 11.7%, rising from 137.57 billion to approximately 154.58 billion. On implementing Social Health Insurance Act (SHIA), and through the support of county governments in publicity and raising awareness, a total of 30.1 million Kenyans have been registered under the Social Health Authority. As of 30th June 2026, counties collectively received 21.36 billion in the financial year 2025-2026, up from 12.7 billion in the financial year 2024-2025. which is the comparable period. Further, of the 44 counties that have enacted the Facility Improvement Financing Act, commonly referred to as FIF, collections have improved from 16.9 billion to 24.01 billion, surpassing their annual targets. For the period under review, the total health workforce across the 47 counties was 98,907, excluding those in national referral, faith-based, and private hospitals. This presents a 29% decline from the previous financial year of 149,447 workers in the health sector, which is majorly attributed to the loss of approximately 41,000 workers deployed under the United States government USG program.
Now, the Senate has officially launched the country's first county government performance assessment system aimed at monitoring the use of public funds as well as service delivery to citizens. Now, the County Fiscal Performance Measurement Index will use data from the Office of the Auditor General, the Commission on Revenue Allocation, and the Office of the Control of Budget to assess financial management, accountability, and service delivery across all counties. Speaking during the launch, the Speaker of the Senate said the system is an important tool that will help enhance transparency, accountability, and sound management of public resources while strengthening the Senate's oversight role over county governments.
For the launch of the inaugural County Fiscal Performance Measurement Index, CFPMI, a landmark publication that adds yet another significant milestone to the institutional journey of the Fourth Senate. Allow me from the outset to sincerely thank honorable senators, the Senate Board of Management, and members of staff for creating time to witness this important occasion. I also commend the Parliamentary Budget Office and every officer and expert who contributed to the development of this publication. Your dedication, technical rigor, and commitment to strengthening parliamentary oversight have produced a resource of immense institutional value. The County Fiscal Performance Measurement Index, which comes in both the complete and abridged versions, is much more than a publication. It is a practical, evidence-based instrument for assessing county government's adherence to the fiscal responsibility principles enshrined in our Constitution, the Public Finance Management Act, and the County Governments Act. Its launch could not have come at a more opportune time. Every financial year, the Senate determines the equitable allocation of nationally raised revenue between the two levels of government and among the 47 counties through the Division of Revenue and Counter Allocation of Revenue Acts.
Now, Jubilee Deputy Party Leader Fred Matiang'i has criticized the frequent visit to State House by political leaders. Jubilee Party politicians say the visit have become excessive and are raising concerns. Matiang'i claims that President William Ruto is misusing his authority. The Jubilee Deputy Party Leader says the country should be focusing on more important national issues instead of repeated political meetings.
Wako nayo kukaa na nyinyi na sasa kazi yake ni survival, apite kura ama aibe kura, aonge watu, asurvive kwa uchaguzi na wananchi wanahangaika. We have received warnings hata hii maneno ya El Nino. Mumeona serikali inajipanga. Kazi ni kuonga tu watu. In a few weeks time tukiwa underwater tutaanza kuhesabu mili ya watu. Na serikali iko wakati huu badala ya kufanya kazi hiyo wanatakiwa kufanya. Biashara kubwa ni kuhonga wananchi, kuzuru kila mahali, mambo kusema ni empowerment ni nini, kutumia pesa ya serikali kuhonga wananchi kwa sababu ya uchaguzi. Mimi nataka kumuomba mkubwa wa nchi hii, rais wetu, badala ya kutumia wakati mwingi kwa mambo kama hayo, sasa tutumie wakati kuangalia livelihood, survival ya watu wetu.
Now, Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku has strongly criticized the leader of DCP party, accusing him of promoting ethnic politics and dividing the people of Mount Kenya region. Speaking at a public rally, Ruku urged Mount Kenya residents living in different parts of the country, including Trans Nzoia, Busia, Lamu, and other areas, not to be misled by leaders who use the Kikuyu language as a means of gaining political support. The Cabinet Secretary said President William Ruto has shown concern for all communities in the Mount Kenya region by appointing leaders from the area to various government positions, including cabinet secretaries, ambassadors, heads of state corporations, and nominated members of parliament. He also claimed that the DCP leader has been disrespecting and dividing the people of Meru, Embu, Kirinyaga, and the Tharaka-Nithi and Isiolo counties, stressing that the Mount Kenya region should not be divided along political lines.
Na nawaomba nikiwa nimenyenyekea, musije mukafuata huyo mtu ambao ni mkora ati njua anaongea lugha moja na nyinyi. Njua ati yeye anaongea Kikuyu na wewe ukiwa Ramu unaongea Kikuyu, na wewe ukiwa Trans Nzoia unaongea Kikuyu, na wewe ukiwa kule kona ya Busia unaongea Kikuyu, unasema ati huyu ndio kiongozi wenu. Kiongozi wenu ambaye ameangalia matakwa yenu sawa sawa, anawapenda, anamenjua mashinda yenu, akahakikisha kwamba anawapatia ministers katika serikali yake, anawapatia nominated MPs katika mbunge, anawapatia mambalozi, anawapatia directors, CEOs, sio mwingine ni Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto. Na hawezi kuwa anafanya hivyo kama wanawachukia.
Right, moving on, Kituru Chache North Member of Parliament Japheth Nyakundi Kibagendi has strongly criticized the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, describing him as one of the worst speakers ever to lead Kenya's parliament. Speaking at political rally held in Korea, Kibagendi accused President William Ruto's government of controlling parliament and attempting to change election laws for political advantage. He also alleged that senior security officials had been appointed along ethnic lines, claims that were not supported by evidence during the speech. Now, the MP said the opposition will not allow President William Ruto to extend his stay in power after the 2027 general election, while urging his supporters to continue backing political change.
Pesa yetu unaiba, unapeleka State House kuhonga watu. Tunakuambia hivi, sisi haututishi. William Ruto aende asiende? Aende asiende? Mko tayari tumfukuze huyu William Ruto? Mwaka wa 2027 sisi tunaenda kupiga kura, na tukipiga kura tunabaki kwa station. Wewe mtu unaitwa Murkomen unatuambia ati kuna watu wa kuchunga kura. Askari wawili kwa polling center wanaweza chunga kura? Sisi tutakuwa na watu 200 ama 300 kwa kila polling station kuchunga kura, sababu tunajua William Ruto, kama unaweza kuibia watu wa Gwitembe mashamba, si kura yetu pia taiba? Ndio sisi tunakuambia William Ruto, kwa Biblia Proverbs 29 chapter 2 inasema viongozi wazuri wakiwa kwenye ushukani watu wanafurahia, lakini viongozi wabofu kama wewe William Ruto uko kwenye ushukani watu wanaumia, watu wanalia. Umeibia watu wa Gwitembe, umeua vijana hapa Gwitembe, mpaka watoto wa Greten umeua. Tunakuambia wewe William Ruto ni one. William Ruto, William Ruto. Na kuna mtu mwingine ameharibu nchi yetu. Yeye anakaa kule bunge. He has presided over the nonsensical selling of parliament. Parliament imenunuliwa na William Ruto. Kama wanataka kunifukuza one more time, wewe Wetangula nifukuze. Wewe kwanza nasikia unapigwa na bibi yako, unaenda kumshtaki police station. Si ndio? Wewe Wetangula, if you need to know you are the worst speaker ever ambaye amekuwa katika nchi yetu. Umeharibu nchi yetu kwa kushikana na William Ruto, mmenunua bunge, mmeumiza wa Kenya, sasa mnajaribu paka kubadilisha sheria. Ati William Ruto anasema, hii tumekuwa tukiona kwa TV wakati election inafanywa, ile tunaangalia vile.
Now, the registration of members of the Linda Mwananchi, the new Linda party, has officially commenced following discussions held by the party's leaders regarding its political direction. Speaking to the media, the party's founder and leader said Linda Party is an independent party that is not associated with any political leader or anyone else or rather on anyone else's political project, I beg your pardon. He emphasized that the party is legally registered and operates independently. The leader said that the party currently has 3 official registered members, while inviting Kenyans from all parts of the country to join and strengthen it. He also said the party will nominate its presidential candidate as preparations for the election continue, stressing that its aim is to provide Kenyans with a new political alternative.
Pesa yetu unaiba, unapeleka State House kuhonga watu. Tunakuambia hivi, sisi haututishi. William Ruto aende asiende? Aende asiende? Mko tayari tumfukuze huyu William Ruto? Mwaka wa 2027 sisi tunaenda kupiga kura, na tukipiga kura tunabaki kwa station. Wewe mtu unaitwa Murkomen unatuambia ati kuna watu wa kuchunga kura. Askari wawili kwa polling center wanaweza chunga kura? Sisi tutakuwa na watu 200 ama 300 kwa kila polling station kuchunga kura, sababu tunajua William Ruto, kama unaweza kuibia watu wa Gwitembe mashamba, si kura yetu pia taiba? Ndio sisi tunakuambia William Ruto, kwa Biblia Proverbs 29 chapter 2 inasema viongozi wazuri.
This party is not connected to any other leader. This is only the leader which is recognized by law, legitimate, recognized by the law of the land, the legitimate party, and it is not connected to any other leader. We are on our own. This is no one's project, and no one has told or anything done so, and no one is also intervening on this. This is my self-project, and that's why I sat here with confidence as a founder and also the party leader of Leader County. For now, we have 3 official registered members, and we will continue to welcome every other person and all Kenyans from all walks of life to massively come and join our party. Of course, it shall be unveiled. We must have the presidential candidate whom shall be unveiled sooner as we progress on these developments.
Now, a group of women from the Mount Kenya East region has criticized opposition leaders for allegedly promoting politics of attacks instead of providing solutions to the challenges facing the country. Speaking in Meru County, members of the Farm Women Brigade said the opposition should present alternative policies that benefit Kenyans rather than engaging in divisive politics. The leaders also defended Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki, saying the office of the Deputy President should not become the subject of political contests before the 2027 election. They dismissed claims by some politicians engaging in succession politics over the position. They also urged political leaders from all sides to focus on issue-based politics and support development projects that improve the lives of citizens.
Lakini tunashangaa kwamba vita inatokea kwa our cousins hapa, na ndio maana mnasikia wengine wetu tuko na frustrations, tunasema tugawe ama tupasue mlima. Kwa sababu tumeona wakati kura zetu zinahitajika ndio mlima unakuwa flat. Kwa hivyo tukiwa wamama wa Meru na wamama wa Mount Kenya East, tunasema tumejua na tumegundua siri kwamba we are on our own. Na ndio maana tunasema Profesa Kindiki Kithure tutasimama naye leo, kesho kutwa na milele. Na mwenye anafikiria Kithure anaweza ondolewa ati sijui kwa sababu ya namba sama nini, tuwaambie leo tukiwa wamama hapa, Kithure ameonyesha utendakazi wake na ako na support across the country. Nataka kuambia Gachagua, ukiweka hapo kutukana rais wetu ametufanyia maendeleo. Watoto wamepewa pesa ya nyota. Sasa hiyo wamefanya maendeleo. Wewe ni nani ukuja uturekebisha hapa na ukabila wako hata una heshima? Message yangu kwa Rigathi Gachagua, hakuna kazi unatufanyia, kazi yenye unafanyia ni ya kufanya watu wagawanye, na usigawanyisha Wakenya. Wakenya wote ni tribe moja, hakuna Mkikuyu, hakuna Mkalenjin, hakuna Mjaruo, sote ni watoto wa mama moja na baba.
Well, that story takes us on a fast breather here on The Drift. We'll be back in just a bit. All right, welcome back to the program. You're watching The Drift. Now let's take a look on what you're waking up to as far as the dailies are concerned. Of course, I'm having the Daily Nation newspaper this morning as well as the Standard newspaper this particular morning, dated the 7th day of August 2026. All right, now let's kick it off with the Daily Nation, where there are pictures there of governors. And of course, it is named best, or the titled Best and Worst Governors. And the Parliamentary Budget Office has ranked county governments after evaluating their performance against the County Fiscal Performance Measurement Index, where most counties are performing moderately, with only a few demonstrating very good performance. And of course, there is a picture there of Embu County governor, that is Cecily Mbarile, who scored 0.689, all right, and followed by Patrick Olentutu from Narok County with 0.608, Ahmed Abdullahi, who was the COG, and of course the governor for Wajir County with 0.605, Julius Malobe from Kitui 0.574, Gilde Mungaro from Kilifi 0.564, Dato Godana from Tana River County 0.556, and as well as Abdusamad Nasir from Mombasa County 0.540, Kitula Kilonzo Junior from Makueni County 0.537, Susan Kiheka from Nakuru County 0.536, Fatma Achani for Kwale County 0.534. And the bottom 10 counties, those were actually, the top 10 counties, all right? Now, the bottom 10 counties include Isaac Motuma from Meru County, 0.403. Kenneth Lusaka from Bungoma County, 0.398. And as well as Joseph Olentutu from for Kajiado, 0.392. Issa Timami for Lamu County, 0.390. Benjamin Cheboy for Baringo County, 0.390. Johnson Sakaja, who is the governor, the capital city, 0.387. Hilary Balchok, for Bomet County, 0.383. Paulo Toma from Busia County, 0.362. Fernandez Barasa from Kakamega County, 0.358. And as well as Anyang Nyongo for Kisumu County, 0.285. As you can see on the sidelines of your screens, those are the bottom 10 counties in terms of the evaluation on their performance so far. And I don't know where you are, where the county you come from. I don't know whether you are in the top 10 counties or the bottom 10 counties. Of course, this actually should, build the basis of who to re-elect, or who to choose to be, the panacea of your grievances in the next electioneering period. That will be next August 2027. All right, that's all you can get on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Of course, 607 billion Kenya shillings is actually the amount approved total budget for the 47 counties in the 2024-2025 financial year, according to the Auditor General. All right, that's what you can find on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation this morning. Now, turning on to other matters right here on the Daily Nation, matters healthcare. Nurses strike, drugs crisis crippled public hospitals. Of course, there have been, health workers strike for the better part of last week. And of course, we hope that will be addressed by the relevant authorities, so that healthcare in various counties will be restored. That's a story on matters healthcare on page 10 of the Daily Nation. Grassroots networks, Ruto follows Moi's script. That's on page 7 of matters politics. Let's take a look at that particular story on page 7. All right, and it says, back to the playbook. President revives Moi-era grassroots machinery. Now, President Ruto's decision to introduce monthly stipends for village elders, while also significantly improving the welfare of chiefs and assistant chiefs, has brought Kenya's provincial administration back into the spotlight. This move has revived memories of an institution that has long been celebrated as the backbone of the government, yet also criticized for being an instrument of political control. Now, for decades, the approval of the provision administration, now known as the National Government Administration Officers, that is Ngao, was one of the state's most extensive and influential grassroots structures, stretching from, the office of the president to the country's smallest villages. Right, of course, Jubilee Deputy Party Leader and Presidential Flag Bearer in that particular party, that is Fred Matiang'i, actually alluded to that and said that, it's time that people, avoid, meetings in State House and focus on, development projects and how to better the lives of citizens. Of course, I know he probably was alluding to the meetings that the head of state has actually been having in State House with, various stakeholders in this country. Just the other day, they were having, elders at State House. All right, we've seen musicians, content creators, but one might argue again that they are providing a platform just to hear them out on what they actually need in their respective industries. All right, that's on page 7 of the Daily Nation. The faces behind Kenya's food, the untold story of the women growing the nation's food while land financing and decision-making remains beyond their reach. That's a story on the front page as well of the Daily Nation this particular morning. Now let's take a look on what's making headlines on the Standard newspaper this morning. Once again, the head of state, President William Ruto, is actually headlining the Standard once again. And top story on the Standard says degrees of debt. And more than 200,000 students set to join university next month face the prospect of graduating with crippling debts under a controversial government plan to abolish undergraduate scholarships and replace them with loans carrying a steep 12% interest rate. Now, the proposal, which could leave some graduates owing more than 4.2 million Kenya shillings, has sparked fears that higher education will become a debt trap, with MPs questioning its suitability as thousands of graduates continue to struggle to find jobs years after leaving university. That's a story on page 4 of the Standard newspaper this morning. All right, and there are figures there: 4.2 million plus Kenya shillings. That's actually the amount of debt medical students could graduate with and keep loans, further increase total indebtedness. All right, now shift from grants to loans. Undergraduate scholarships scrapped. University education funded mainly, through loans. Access at risk. Fear of debt may deter poor students. Equities in higher education could also decline. All right, 12% new help interest rate, an increase of 8%. That is more than the 4%. All right, and of course, 5 years. It's actually the years graduates take to find work. After. Or even more after graduating, right? 7% graduates who secure jobs, within first year. That's also you can find on page 4 of the Standard newspaper this morning on matters to do with education, especially the higher learning education. All right, page 3 speaks about report reveals devolution progress and gaps governors should cover. And of course, there is a picture there of the Council of Governors chairperson Ahmed Abdullahi, where the article says county governments have reported significant progress in expanding healthcare, education, agriculture, and the other developed services, but warned that inadequate funding, delayed transfer of devolved functions and capacity constraints could continue to hinder the full implementation of devolution. And when you hear about, the Council of Governors chairperson Ahmed Abdullahi says that, the county governments have reported significant progress in expanding healthcare. And yet again, this week, the healthcare workers actually striking, due to their CBAs and of course their grievances not being adhered to by the county and national governments. And one then asks the question then, what progress are they alluding to? All right, that's a story you can find on page 3 of the Standard newspaper this morning. Matters education, KUPPET rejects new TSC promotions formula. And of course, a fresh war has erupted between Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, that is KUPPET, and the Teacher Service Commission after the union rejected the new promotion formula. and the union demanded that the number of advertised promotions vacancies be increased from 34,016 to 50,000 Kenya shillings, as President William Ruto had promised. KUPPET has accused TSC of ignoring the president's containment made during a meeting with teachers at State House on September 13th of 2025. That's a story on page 3 as well of the Standard newspaper. Now, report says Kisumu, Nairobi among worst in use of funds. And of course, the Turkana County has been ranked the best in adherence to fiscal responsibility principle, and according to of course that's according to a parliamentary budget office. Now, in a report on the year 2024-2025 released yesterday, Kisumu was ranked the worst, followed by the bottom by Kakamega, Busia, Bomet, Nairobi, and Baringo counties. PBO Director Martin Masinde said the reports assessed several indicators, including budget implementation, efficiency, development expenditure, spending on wages and benefits, county assembly expenditure, ceilings, on-source revenue, pending obligations, audit outcomes, and personal emoluments. All right. Of course, that's what we had taken a look at on the Daily Nation newspaper on the best and worst counties in terms of performance as far as 2024-2025 financial year is concerned. Now, governors threatened to punish striking nurses, and the governors have warned that counties will take action against striking health workers. The Council of Governors Chairperson Ahmed Abdullahi yesterday said the ongoing nurses' strike was illegal, adding that negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement was already ongoing. Abdullahi also warned that individual counties would punish health workers who continued to stay away from duty despite court orders suspending the strike. Right, that's on matters healthcare. And as far as the strike, the ongoing strike in the healthcare sector is actually concerned. It is exactly 41 minutes past the top of the hour. I want to take a short breather here on the drift, but when we come back, we're going to have a conversation right here with young actors, just trying to hear their stories, how they started and how it is right now, and of course how the industry looks like for young actors, and of course how the future as well looks like. All right, my name is Macharia. We are taking a short breather, but we'll be back in just a bit. Don't go too far.